Yeah, I don't know, man. You ever just feel like life is just catapulting towards like some greater purpose?
Pampered fat cats with bloated ego. We are the only DJ crazy enough to tattoo Jackie Brown on his ass.
This is Michael Mann, and I ride with
As I'm sure you guys understand, like, podcasting scheduling is just the worst thing in the fucking world, and it's
Of course. I mean, when what we try to do is record 3, and on my end, release 2 every week. And so
so you always got like 4 or 5 banked, right?
Yeah,
okay.
and then so that we could take a couple weeks off when we need to.
So you don't want me to talk about your man who got today. You don't want me to be like.
I mean, we could open on that. Yeah. It'll be a little untimely, but my man who got today. Yeah, that
is true. Sorry, I don't know anything about that guy, but he seems like a cunt. So doesn't.
Oh,
seem...
absolute top flight cunt. Yeah.
Okay. If you want, I can open with a thing that I saw happen that was hideous the other day, which was I saw there was a woman. So where I work, I won't state where I work, but like there was a woman came through, and she was wearing the Criterion T-shirt, house T-shirt, the Obayashi one.
Classic.
Yeah,
we actually call it Hausu here.
Right. Yeah, we haven't got that here yet, so that's... But anyway, she was wearing this monstrosity, and this guy was just like, hey, nice T-shirt. And she looked at him, it was like, she was probably like, for fuck's sake, why have I worn this thing? And then she looked up and said, oh, nice hat. And he was wearing a baseball cap with the A24 insignia on it, and I was just like, this is one of those... He was hoping he was going to have, I'm Ethan Hawke, she's Julie Delpy, we're going to have a... thing happen here, but no thing did happen here at all. It was fucking terrible.
And so it seems that since 1993 things have not changed in the streets of Great Britain, and ugliness still runs amok in the way that it does on the film that we're talking about today, Mike Leigh's Naked. Welcome to Extended Clip. This is episode 443, and I'm one of your hosts, Eddie Averill.
I'm Malcolm Baum.
I'm JT White.
And joining us, our, I guess now, default British correspondent by virtue of being our first British guest in our 5th century of podcasting, basically. We hit like every ethnic box and saved British for last.
Fair enough, mate, fair enough.
Formerly of the 10 terabyte hard drive, and you could just find his stuff on Letterboxd and whatnot. It's Joe Greenwood. What's up, man?
Hey man, I feel like I've been introed as like a war correspondent that you've had calling in from the UK. Yes, things are bad here. People are painting flags on roundabouts. It's fucking... We're going a bit nuts here. But I'm happy to be here to talk about, I think, an incredible movie, but hey, I don't want to influence you guys too much just yet. Let's get into the meat.
Well, first of all, I want to ask, what part of England are you in?
I am in Sussex, which is southeast England, so I'm south of London, towards the coast, near Brighton. So that's where I live, about an hour from London. That's basically the framework for Americans is how far are you away from London?
Exactly. So, and for me, it's just like from playing FIFA and watching some limited Premier League and watching like Peep Show, I guess. I just can hear names of British cities and I can't place them on the map. I wouldn't be able to. But people just start saying things like Sussex. And I'm like, Sussex for sure. Like Brighton, word. Absolutely, dude.
Fair enough.
Crystal Palace.
To be fair, if you asked me to name certain places in the UK, I'm not sure I could do it. I've rarely been north of Watford, which is about 45 minutes north of London. So that's kind of like my pocket there.
When you say you've never been north of Watford, my American equivalent, like I'm trying to put this in terms that I can understand, and it's like in Carlito's way when he's like, if they catch my Puerto Rican ass above 42nd Street, so it's like if you're like a proper like Sussex lad, you can't go north of Watford. Like that's you might get, True.
I mean, I'm not from Sussex. I just live here.
Okay.
I'm one of those people. I was born in London and just sort of like moved around a fair bit. So I've experienced the different diaspora of the south of London and England and a bit of Wales as well. So I've been all over. But Anyway, this is boring. What the fuck am I talking about?
I just like this becoming like a like not even travel, but like in the 50s how they marketed travel to Americans, where it was like go to exotic England, where you'll find places like Sussex.
We wanted to know your street cred, so that's
Exactly.
good. Thank you for letting us know the detail.
We needed our first British guest on because we're talking about a Mike Leigh movie, and Mike Leigh is a filmmaker who kind of mystified me because like I tried to get into him too early, probably like very early on in my cinephilia. I watched like High Hopes and gave Secrets and Lies a whirl, and I just didn't get it, frankly. And I was so taken with more audacious visual stylists, like that is when I was getting really into, in the genre realm, Tony Scott, and in the art house realm, Jean-Luc Godard, let's say. So I was like, Mike Leigh, this shit's boring, who cares, And then it was earlier this year that I caught Hard Truths in its US release, which was in January of this year. So technically Hard Truths is still one of my best movies of the year, and I was delighted by how much I took to it. And I was like, okay, I need to reevaluate this guy who I saw like 1.5 movies of and wrote off as a 19-year-old over a decade ago, I guess. And now that I've seen a few more of his movies after this week and this year, I am ready to say that young me was, I would say, not even wrong. It's just like, what's a 19-year-old American who still lives at home gonna do with a Mike Leigh movie? Like, unless you're an actor or like really into acting, I don't really think there's anything there for you. But as you grow a little older and grow more world weary, as it were, and maybe go through some financial hardships that make you reevaluate things about class and about family structure and about the nuclear family as it relates to the economy in your nation as a whole, and the just like embittered soul of people at large. I've found these films deeply relatable and moving, and Naked definitely put me to the test, and is the darkest of all of those, but man, did I fucking love it.
Yeah, I mean, I love Mike Leigh because I think obviously I have to.
Yeah.
Being English. But by the way, can I just ask, you mentioned Tony Scott. Would you actually classify him as a British or an American director?
I classify him as a Hollywood director.
Ah, right.
Because
okay,
it's like, what did he make outside of Hollywood? Just The Hunger, I guess? Or was The Hunger a Hollywood movie even?
I think that was a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, so he pretty much only made Hollywood movies.
Fair enough then, fair enough. Yeah, Mike Leigh, I would classify him as one of like the 9 or 10 good filmmakers we've ever had from the UK that I would classify as a British filmmaker, not including people like Tony Scott. It's like him and Alan Clark, and that's about it, to be honest. But we've got a bit of a strange industry, to be honest. We don't really focus on like filmmaking. It's kind of industry is the main thing. But it's interesting that this is a guy who's been able to stand out because of his process. The process is like such a huge part of his mystique.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like how he improvises whole films before he's even written them, and then he goes away and writes them and then comes back.
And it's an improvised, lengthy rehearsal pre-writing process. That's like the key to this, is that like he assembles his cast first and basically gives them sketches of their characters, and then through these theatrical exercises that seem out of a Rivette film, they have these like in-depth weeks-long rehearsals, and that is where a lot of the dialogue of the film is born. And as you said, then Mike Leigh goes away and writes it as a proper script.
Something I wanted to pick up on as well, that you said about like being a 19-year-old and watching like Secrets and Lies.
Yeah,
it's like that was something that came up on the 10 terabyte hard drive a lot, which was like, how the fuck am I supposed to relate to an Antonioni movie when I'm 18 years old? Like, there's absolutely nothing there for me. And then when I watch like La Notte and I'm 32 years old and I've been in a relationship for 7 years and it's like the most devastating thing I've ever seen. Yeah. It's like, and there was a weird thing then that twigged for me as well, is that I actually kind of think that there should be like an age cap on like being able to join like Letterboxd and stuff like that, as in like you have to be 27 and up as a minimum. Do you know what I mean? I saw a thing the other day. There was a film I wanted to watch. It was called like All Around Us, and it's this Japanese like family drama. It's supposed to be very intense. I've not seen it. And someone said, "Oh, writing a review for a film for my birth year." And I looked, and it's like the film was like 2008, and I was just like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" And then when I saw they wrote the review, it was 2021, so they were 13 writing a review of fucking some like really intense Japanese family drama, and it's like, bless you, like that's very sweet and all, but you know, stick to the fucking Minecraft movie for a bit. I mean, Jesus.
It's like the prototype of the avant teen, as it were, has always existed and always will, but I feel like the accessibility gates have kind of opened, and so you see a lot like the distance between the avant teens and the teens who quote unquote like movies. The gap has disappeared through social media and Letterboxd more than it used to, where you used to have to be on forums.
Do you think that's a good thing?
I don't know.
You know what I think the difference is? Back in the day, there would be like these avant teens, and they would express their opinions, and you know, maybe someone would hear it. But now they get the most likes, so they go to the top because they're all liking each other's stuff. And then, you know, the older people go on. It's just like, what the hell is this shit? You know, where it used to just be like an errant comment. You know, it's because they get the most likes.
Being like younger on the internet, like experience like being an avant teen, getting into movies, I feel like there was the experience of like an older person who's actually knowledgeable was going to shut me down for having a stupid opinion.
Yeah.
And there was like that element of humiliation was kind of baked into it. Whereas now I feel like just it's more overwhelmingly, what Malcolm is saying, like getting more likes, more like overwhelmingly like young online like people that are into film. So I feel like it's, if you have a stupid opinion, I think it more likely than not you'll get it supported rather than someone being like, settle down, kid.
Yeah.
I also think that, and we should get to the movie, but this is a great discussion point. I've seen people of my generation, or even slightly younger than me, but mainly a little older than me, kind of bemoan the proliferation of like quote unquote 19-year-olds watching strobe huye movies and stuff like that. Right. And I think it is a side effect of what Malcolm was describing, where they can like each other's stuff, so it seems like there's more of them than there actually are, and it becomes overrepresented. Like, you know, a critic worrying that there's 18-year-olds with their, they hear their footsteps every night when they get on the decks, because these 18-year-olds are listening or watching strobe huye movies and quote unquote understanding them, but it's really like 12 people. Like it is the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, and I think that like even giving critical credence to that kind of thing is like, who fucking cares? Because the bigger battle is the fact that 8 million people watch every single Letterboxd top 4 red carpet video, and it's become, as one X post I saw the other day rightfully put it, more of a fashion accessory than even a signifier of art or anything like that is your top 4. And I think that's a much worse thing for the state of criticism than fucking, you know, some 19-year-old writing a Neo-Cities blog about how they pretend to understand John Ford, you know?
Do you guys like Straub Hulia, however you say the name? I can't.
Sure. I haven't seen enough of their work. I like the ones I've seen. I don't love, like, head over heels any of them, but, like, I really appreciate the ones I've seen. Some of them more boring than others, but it's not something I, like, reach for necessarily. I haven't rewatched any of them. I've never had an urge to be like, you know what? Time to rewatch Not Reconciled. Got to give that one another go. Let's crack this egg. It's more like once every couple years I'll throw on the next major one and slowly check those ones off.
I think they're fucking shit, those films. So that's my overall opinion, and I will not go any further into it.
They seem too political for me, is my opinion.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't seen them yet. A little too political.
Look,
for my
America's
taste.
too politically divided right now anyway. We don't need these radical left filmmakers, especially with the domestic terrorism we saw today, There's that famous quote that left Twitter loves using, Jean-Marie Straub said that if he didn't make films, he would make bombs. And hey, maybe if Jean-Marie Straub didn't make films, he would be sniping Charlie Kirk. So how about you think about that, guys?
Well,
this is going to get edited out, isn't it?
I mean, it's going to be released in like 3 weeks. It'll be the most stale thing ever. So that'll be why it's edited rather than it being inappropriate. But let's get into Naked, guys. Malcolm, had you seen this film before? How'd you feel about this?
No, I had not seen this film before, and I had never seen any Mike Leigh movies before. And yeah, I was the one who actually chose this for the podcast, and yeah, it was just given the description of the movie, it was just always something I was curious in checking out. And I definitely kind of, at first, I think the culminative effect of the movie is kind of when it really connected for me. Because at first I'm like, this guy's kind of annoying. I'm not gonna lie, this guy's kind of rambling on, But as things have progress, and he talks to more and more people, the dark tone and kind of just how he moves from person to person, all these people kind of working. Yeah, I was just gonna say that as I see more of these interactions with more of these people kind of not in positions that they want to be, and him kind of working his special charm. I don't know, I kind of felt what the movie was going for, and it feels very different from what I'd seen, because I'm sorry, I'm a little jumbled today. Actually, I had seen a Mike Leigh movie before. I saw Hard Truths, and it's just the approaches are so different, and I was just kind of admiring the contrast in that. But I don't know, this is a very singular movie. It kind of left me, like, I definitely enjoyed it, but at the same time, I was a little bit not knowing how to feel.
JT, what about you?
Yeah, this was the second Mike Leigh movie that I've seen, and I think I had a pretty similar experience to you, Eddie, where, like, in college, I watched Happy Go Lucky, and I really, really didn't like it. The Sally Hawkins character, I feel like just the perspective of that character alone just kind of annoyed me, which I feel like everyone in the or a fair amount of people in the film are kind of annoyed with her positivity. And I don't know, it felt like it didn't ring true to me at the time, but again, that's something where, like, especially watching both Naked and Secrets and Lies today, I was like, okay, I need to investigate this one again, because I have a suspicion it was something I was wrong about. But yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, more or less what you were saying, Eddie, like when I was a younger person, I was less attuned to like this style of direction that is built around, like, I don't know, showing performance and really pulling some impressive things from actors. And so it was just like, I don't know, Naked was something that, like, beforehand I was like, oh, this seems a little bit like a bummer. I'm going to skip this one. But yeah, today watching it, I don't know. I think I just love when you can get sucked into performance like that, and a filmmaker will like not neglect like visual style, because I think certainly like it's a gorgeous movie, but will not be getting in the way of themselves when they have like such talent, and also have such a strong ability to mine great things from actors. I mean, being like a podcast that goes from like an auteurist perspective a lot of the time, I feel like when we talk about filmmakers, we're mostly talking about like stylistic, like formal film choices. And I think like encountering a director like Mike Leigh, I think, again, goes in somewhat of a different direction there.
JT, I'm curious. So you did the 2 episodes we're recording today as a double feature. What was the order of movies that you watched?
I did Naked first, which was, I think, the best choice because I was just like, fuck, like, I'm bummed out. Like, this sucks. Like, I walked my dog around the neighborhood for a little bit and then came back and watched Secrets and Lies and cried, and I felt like I felt good about myself. So I think that was like, if you're going to do that double feature, I would say that's the correct order, so you can end on a high note rather than a low one.
Naked is a film, like so many in the 1990s, about the end of the world and the end of history. It is a nocturnal, grimy, disgusting movie about David Thewlis's character Johnny, a sexual predator and I guess former philosophy student, perhaps, a very well-read, rambling, loquacious, young-ish chap, deceivingly looks younger than he is, perhaps, who kind of just imposes his will on everyone he encounters in London through conversation, while ostensibly visiting to see what the deal is with his ex-lover, who also, like him, came from Manchester down to London. The ex-lover is house-sitting for a friend, the ex-lover being Louise and her friend Sophie, house-sitting for their nurse friend, and then all the while you get, like, intercut with this stuff, this guy Jeremy, who's like a landlord, who's this, high class guy, used as a counterpoint kind of to the Johnny character for how like womanizing scumbags operate in both high and low classes of society. And if that makes it sound like a repellent film, it is in Johnny's philosophizing, his windbaggery, that this film finds its feet, and this film just lures you in like the worst guy at a party that you can't stop listening to. It's almost like if you've listened to like, you just had the morbid curiosity to listen to like one of those awful like Joe Rogan podcasts or Theo Vaughn or something like that. Like just one of these mentally deficient guys, but especially like the pseudo-intellectual ones. Like who was that big atheist guy that went right wing after 9/11?
Can I just give a little detail just quickly when you said that he was a philosophy student?
Yes.
The philosophy exam he's talking about is A-levels, which is what you do from 16 to 18 before you go to university. So I don't think he ever actually went to like university degree level.
Okay, so that was just like what he would have studied as an 18-year-old when he was in high school. That's just the electives he liked taking.
I can see JT ramping up a porn A-levels joke in his mind right there. So I was wondering if you want to just get that out now.
His ramblings are like that of, especially when you were in high school and you heard those like 16-year-old atheist pseudo-intellectual philosophizing types, and you just kind of can't help but listen. Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of people that listen to this podcast, a lot of people that have podcasts, and it kind of takes on the same quality as another film from the early 90s to me, that has a similar attitude but much less menacing, Richard Linklater's Slacker, where I don't like any of those people necessarily. Most of those people are like either conspiracy theorists or like just weirdos that I wouldn't want to hang out with necessarily. Some of them are cool, I guess, but most of them are not people that you like. They just don't sexually assault people like the guy from Naked, obviously, which makes a big difference, but we're just talking about the speechifying here. It's this weird thing where, as I said, I just can't help but want to know how he's explaining all of these things away. It's magnetic, despite the fact that everything is like just the most obviously disprovable teenage pseudobabble. And it lends itself to an odd type of empathy where, like, and I don't even think empathy is the right word, but a relationship between viewer and protagonist where when you're watching him do these horrible things, it's not like some sort of betrayal, you know? Like, you know how bad he is from the start. The movie opens on a handheld long take of him raping a woman in an alleyway, you know? I don't know. It was just one of the strangest relationships between spectator and the point of view of the film and the protagonist that I've had in quite some time. And, you know, I watch a lot of movies where guys do bad stuff. I watch all these, you know, Jess Franco movies that are just torture porn, basically.
So good. So good. Have you ever seen Macumba Sexual?
No, I have that one on my hard drive. That's a little later, right? That's like so 1980 something.
It's and it's in Africa as well. So, you know, Jess is Jess going to be dropping the problematic gear in that one.
But anyway, now I sound like a guy trying to imitate one of those guys with my rambling here. So one of you guys can take over here. Perhaps Joe, go ahead and what do you think about the character of Johnny as it relates to the movie as a whole and yourself as a viewer?
I mean, the interesting thing for me on the reading of Johnny is that the philosophizing is like, to me, the whole thing is like, this kind of like, this got this mask. He's got this sort of like mask that he goes, and then, you know, he has these different faces that he places on himself, like the bit with the security guard when he's outside the door and he's just inside then, and then how he treats the women. I think that ultimately that character becomes whole is actually at the end, when it's like, it's the same thing that he does at the beginning of the movie, which is, how the fuck do I get out of here? How do I keep moving forward? And that's what that is, and everything else is just a sort of mask he does. And to me, that also comes through with the dialogue as well, because, you know, he's always got like a snappy comeback to everything. Mm-hmm. You know, when she said like, "Oh, why'd you come?" He said like, "You can see that from here." Like, that's the sort of thing where he's obviously said it before, or he's heard someone say it before. He's tried it out before. It's like, okay, that works. I'll keep that in my sort of like Rolodex of pithy one-liners. And I feel like the philosophizing is another thing, which is to mask the damage of that guy. Because if ever a point that someone did actually break through to him, he would always just put a new mask on. He'll be a new guy. You know, he'll always have someone that he can revert to. And so that's kind of like, I don't know, it makes him a reactor, I think. And I think that's what's so great about this performance. It's basically the classic, you know, acting is reacting trope. You know, he is just a pure reactor to everything in his surroundings and his settings. And I think that's what makes
interesting you say that, because I've
so great
like,
at this.
I wouldn't have thought of it that way, but he is really just like, everything, every one-liner or rant that he pulls out of his back pocket to recycle is always just in response to someone else.
Yeah.
JT?
Do you know? Sorry, go on.
No. I mean, like, the reacting aspect of it feels like, I don't know why there's like an interesting comparison to be drawn between the Johnny and the Jeremy character. Like, it doesn't like downplay either of the terrible actions, but with like the Johnny character, it's just like, you've seen and like know people, I feel like, that are like that, like living in like the real world. Like, I feel like I've worked like shitty service jobs with a lot of people who come from a lot like tougher situations than I do, and then will kind of like, again, have, I don't know, like those types of masks on, like philosophize in like ways where they're like clearly like just completely full of shit, and will do kind of like bad things. And like when contrasted with like the like Jeremy character, who you have like no real understanding of, it just like feels like just complete unbridled like rich psychopathy. It like I don't know, makes the Johnny character like not necessarily easier to unravel, but it feels like there's some unraveling to be had there in terms of character psychology, where I feel like with the Jeremy character you don't get a lot of anything.
Well, I think that's kind of the thing, isn't it? Is that Johnny has to have more of a, maybe like a grounding, or like there has to be something more there. But the Jeremy character is so rich, he doesn't have to have that. He can just say the most disgusting and obscene things to women and follow through on it. because he can pay everything off. Whereas the Johnny character's like, well, I want to do that as well, but I've got to be a bit more tricksy about it, and I've got to find my opportunities. He's more like a sort of cockroach would be such an easy, obvious thing to reference, but he is. I don't know. He kind of like slides through the cracks, and he's able to like sort of keep some sort of level of sustenance going.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what makes that character more compelling as a viewer, and also repulsive as a viewer. I mean, I know a couple of people who are like, that is one of the worst films I've ever seen. I can't get through it. And I totally understand. Like, I'm not going to pretend otherwise, but.
No, I think a bug is apt. It reminds me of, not to go very obvious, lit bro mode, but Infinite Jest, the very, very long monologue about the character, buying marijuana for the last time and comparing it to the bug he sees go into the silo to hide, and he's like watching the bug back and forth, versus the shadow chasing it. And he's really just like looking for a place to hide, like the bug, and looking to get his fix, which, like the character in that chapter. But his fix isn't a drug in this. It's either getting off on it very violently with a woman, or sucking someone into a hours-long conversation and like sucking them of all their worth, basically. And like getting every part of human experience he can, just extracting it from them. Like that scene with the security guard, it really like the parasitic nature, I think, really sets in there, where he really does seem to be juicing the relationship with the security guard for everything he can, not even on a material level at all, other than shelter for a little while. It's on the level of like a guy to give stories to and take stories from, basically. And it's such a strange dynamic.
If I was to just add to the lit bro comparisons, the one that kind of struck me the most was, have you ever read Celine's Journey to the End of the Night?
I have not, no.
That is a truly evil book. Well, one of the best books ever written by a horrendous human being, Louis Ferdinand Celine. I'll let you go on his Wikipedia to see how evil that man is.
I was about to say, I read his name today in the epilogue of Operation Shylock, where Roth refers to him as an author I still teach every semester and try to convince myself to hate.
Right.
So take that with a grain of salt, I guess.
So
he was a Nazi. He was a Nazi. Yeah. But regardless,
actually, I have another book comparison. We want to talk books. I'm reading.
Whoa. JT, get one ready.
I got a Cat in the Hat.
The bibliography page on this episode is going to be crazy. But I'm reading Money by Martin Amis, which I'm only like, it's really good.
So
and I'm only about like 80 pages in, I've barely made a crack in it, but it's, the characters are, somewhat similar. There's some differences there. Maybe this, the main character of Money's more like the evil landlord, possibly. But I've only read so far. Maybe maybe he turns a new leaf in the book. I don't know. But, just kind of being seeped in kind of like this unpleasantness and kind of like this desire just to keep moving and kind of, not like when anything kind of gets uncomfortable, just to kind of, run from that situation. And, I think that's what makes this character so compelling, because, even though we do see him do, these sexual assaults, there's still just kind of an unknown nature to why he operates the way he does. And, maybe that's why, not pretty much most people, I would say, have a negative interaction with him, but I feel like that's why maybe the security guard is most willing to hear him out, because he's got, a pretty boring job where he just has to sit there. So, this guy comes in, wants to talk philosophy, so it's killing some hours off the clock there, which, but yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite scenes of the movie, just how, the way they kind of like go through the space, and there's a lot of like, kind of empty, almost kind of corporate looking stuff, and then you kind of have like the darker rooms and the stairwells, and good use of the location there.
Well, there's empty spaces like everywhere in this movie. Like people are, like house sitting and stuff like that. Like there's all these empty flats and empty buildings and vacant places because I guess at this point in time it's very cold. Like everyone's complaining about how cold it is. I would guess the upper classes have gone on seasonal vacations, and that's why there seems to be a surplus of just like emptiness around town.
Well, the thing I wanted to talk about was at the beginning you said it's like the end of history, the whole like 90s idea. Yeah. And to me this is almost like post-apocalyptic in my mind as a movie. And it's like, am I really going to say it? Yeah, I'm going to fucking say it. The apocalypse being Margaret Thatcher, obviously, and that this is like a post-Thatcher's Britain where essentially social housing has disappeared, social support networks have disappeared, NHS has been ripped into, and in its place are empty fucking buildings when there's like people who are in absolutely dire sort of situations. Also adding to that as well was that like most of the characters in it are not from London. They've all got regional accents. You've got a couple Mancunians, there's a Scouser as well in there. I believe the other flatmate, who's Sarah, her accent is quite hard to place, but I'm guessing it was Birmingham. It's everyone in the movie is in London to come to something, as well as the Glaswegian young couple as well.
Oh which, I mean that's one of my favorite parts. When, that young man with the twitch from he's from Scotland.
Yeah, and he's in Trainspotting as well, wasn't he?
Oh, okay. I haven't seen Trainspotting in so long.
I'm not.
He's looking for his girl Maggie, and that's like for one of his two addictions, for one of Johnny's two addictions. He is his perfect victim, where this guy is just gonna walk around shouting Maggie, and Johnny can just fucking riff for as long, like until he runs out of steam. He can just riff at this guy. And it like is some of the best work that Leigh and cinematographer Dick Pope do in this movie, particularly the scene where they're like under a bridge with all the other homeless folks, like with fires and stuff, and guys have dogs and stuff, and it's really great. And it's funny you're talking about how the post-Thatcher era, you have all these empty spaces because of ridiculously bad conservative government measures. Those scenes under the bridges, if anything, reminded me of The Wire, if I'm going to make an American comparison, which is a very, directly pointed political text about why these people are living the lives that they're living from a systemic point of view. And it like, you can either view it from that point of view, from the socio-political point of view, or the pure genre film if you're just like a video nasty kind of guy who just wants to watch a dirty guy do dirty things. I bet there's plenty of guys who loved this. Like in England, like did you know guys growing up that thought this was like Joker kind of like or like Taxi Driver or like American Psycho?
No, Taxi Driver just has that place over here. Like that's what that is. Naked,
yeah, I guess Fight Club maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Naked is kind of like considered like the Mike Leigh movie that's not the Mike Leigh movie. It's probably closer to. It has the feeling closer to something like a Złowski film, to be honest. And I did wonder if he's actually ever seen one, like before,
it reminds me
the
of
possession
Moonlighting.
tote bags, but.
Yeah, or no, not Złowski. That's fucking what's his name? Who did Moonlighting and Deep End?
Skolimowski, Jerzy Skolimowski.
It reminded me of Moonlighting a little bit, to be honest, and a little Deep End. It reminded me a little bit of that Skolimowski weirdness in some of those nighttime scenes.
It needs to be said a bit more. Skolimowski is a fucking beast. Oh, yeah. Like he's such a good fucking filmmaker. Have you ever seen The Shout?
No,
I have not. No, we've done episodes on Moonlighting and Deep End though, and those both went extremely hard. The
Deep End is incredible, but The Shout is like mental because it's basically just Alan Bates going like, I can shout really loud and it'll send you mental. And this guy's like, all right, do it. And then he does, and he goes mental, and it ruins his life, and it's absolutely brilliant. So I really recommend The Shout. Like, that is, yeah. So Skolimowski is like, he's able to like capture something particularly British, and I'm not entirely sure how he did it, other than you know, being a great filmmaker, I guess. Also, The Light Ship, that's a great Skolimowski film as well. I really recommend that.
Going back to one of those other comparisons to 90s films, when I mentioned Fight Club, that especially stood out to me in one of Johnny's rants where he's talking about how, everyone's going to have barcodes tattooed on their arms, and the only way to eradicate it is to, basically he describes a variation on the end of Fight Club. Which I thought was pretty funny and prescient. I don't know if Fincher and company were listening to guys like that, or if I guess Chuck Palahniuk. I don't know if does the Fight Club book predate this. I would have to check on that, but regardless, one of also the most demented and best pieces of filmmaking, just in terms of like genre filmmaking, is within the security guard chunk of the movie, because there's like 5 scenes within that. After they peep on the lady, going body double mode, basically, he then enacts the fantasy and goes over there for his security guard buddy to watch him. And because this isn't a situation where he would be forcing himself on the woman, he's kind of turned off and kind of just like gets a little physical with her and then throws her on the bed and comes back to his security buddies like, yeah, I didn't even fuck her, and it's just like it somehow makes the other ones worse. Like, it's just like the more you figure out his like sexual psychology, I guess, the deeper the shit goes, and it's just like more and more demented. But also the point of view shots and like the way that Leigh films across the alleyway through the windows and stuff is so brilliant, and some of the only kind of like showy visual moments of the film.
Can I just mention something as well, is that like each character, it feels like it's just, they are hurting someone or themselves at all times.
Yeah.
Like, that's the connection. Like, it's not that thing of hurt people. It's just like, I just want to feel some level of friction right now. I want to have something that's going to bite back on me. And literally when that woman says, bite me, and he's just like, oh, all right, like, this doesn't, I don't actually want to help you. That's the thing. Like, I want to get my, I know that doing that would help you, and I don't want to do that, so now I'm going to hurt you. So,
yeah.
God, it's disgusting.
What a fucking movie. Jesus.
It's funny.
What a great film.
I remember reading this was like a tragic comedy or like a black comedy in some spaces, and I was just like, dude, this film is so dark. Like, how do people think it's funny? And then Sandra comes home, and it just becomes like a farce in the third act when the person they're house sitting for comes back, and it's just like an absolute nightmare after every character hits total rock bottom. Like, every character that is around just goes through the fucking ringer by the end of the night, and they all just wake up almost dead, basically emotionally drained. And then Sandra just comes home and it's just like pure screwball, like door slamming farce where he's asking about if she saw any monkeys. I saw
Were they
many
cheeky?
monkeys.
Yeah.
Cheeky, which is a callback to him calling himself a cheeky monkey when he approaches the woman that they were peeping on from across the way. So I guess he has again, exposing himself for repeating material all the time. He probably heard some other guy refer to someone as a cheeky monkey, and he's just been saying it all the time since. Yeah, he's got a Lebowski
What's your
syndrome.
favorite? What are your guys' favorite Johnny one-liners?
Ooh, that's tough. I think the whole monologue about how he's never bored is great because it's so stupid. It's like the most like, and he's just he feels so like convicted in it too. But also him saying, "I've got A-level psychology rules," just about his own brain.
It's not.
The
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not a Johnny one-liner, but like something that just like made me laugh just because of how like shocking and important. Like, it's when Jeremy says that he gave her AIDS, like to her. It's just like like I was just like, Jesus Christ, like it's not something that's funny, but it just is like so over the top evil.
Her great reaction as well when he says he's giving it, and she turns around and goes like, "You better not have." Just like, I think it's a bit more serious than "you better not have."
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy really makes Johnny seem much like gives him some depth, because like the Jeremy character really is just kind of just super harsh with it, to put it very lightly. But I think when also the best Jeremy, or the best retort in the movie is after he goes on the boring rant, and then it's Luis, right, says, well, I've been, he asks her how she's been. He's like, I've been pretty bored recently.
And as they reconcile, the what turns out to be the lead couple, which is pretty brutal. The way that, by the way, we haven't really mentioned, he's going there to reconcile with his ex Louise, and he just fucks her friend Sophie right away, and then Sophie gets really attached to him. And when he reconciles with Louise at the end, it's like a really sweet scene. And then it cuts to Sophie just sobbing in the hallway. And then you just hear her sobs like the rest of the time, basically. And it's so strange. And the way it's quite cheeky, in fact, the dialogue where their version of saying I love you to each other is, do you hate me? Fuck off. And they're just gonna go to return to Manchester and figure it out that way. And this film's phenomenal, man. As I said earlier, it works both as like a genre film and an art house film. It's both at once. And it's just such a great stylistic object, and the depths of depravity that it goes to are so low. And I'm gonna go 4.5 bullets on Naked. I really loved this one. Malcolm, what about you?
I like this movie too, but I feel like maybe I kind of was going against its nature at first, and it kind of led to just me kind of I guess being genuinely kind of disturbed by all the depravity going on, which is I guess that's a human reaction, but it's just not a very pleasant movie to sit in. But I do really appreciate what it does, and especially all the really good performances, and these kind of one-on-one scenes that we get with Johnny and various people, the kind of very specific type of charm he has despite being someone who's not so great. So I'm going to give this 3.5 bullets. But I didn't necessarily, I guess, love it, but at the end I did really kind of appreciate it.
Okay, so I like us distinguishing your ratings now between love it, appreciate it, like it. It's kind of like the sizes at Cold Stone, It's like it, gotta have it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what's a rating without commentary, right? It's not worth much.
No, exactly. I just don't think you've ever so properly elucidated your scale in running contrary to my 4.5 by saying I don't love it, 3.5, and my imagination just immediately went to Cold Stone for some reason that I won't mention. JT, what about you?
I thought this was a great movie. I'm going to go 4 bullets. I think, like Malcolm, a lot of the extreme unpleasantness did kind of hold it back for me to some extent. Just, again, I think as a matter of personal preference. But, again, I think once I have a greater feel for Mike Leigh's, whole filmography, I want to return to it. I mean, certainly the double feature gave me a little bit of whiplash there. And I know, like, as Joe was saying, like, this is the one known for not being the Mike Leigh movie, being so, like, dissimilar. But, yeah, I like just really, like, zooming in and focusing on just, like, the extreme ugliness and, like, poverty in, like, post-Thatcher, like, the post-Thatcher landscape. It's not really, like, the point is not, like, interrogating, oh, well, how did we get here? It feels like more angry than that, where it's just like, fuck you, we're, like, here now, this is what we've wrought, take, like, a big fucking look at this, like, this is, like, how, like, people, like, situations people are forced into, and then, like, the upper class, the elite, are going to just, like, run around raping people, raping, like, society at large, and just plundering from there. And, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think, like, that righteous anger at, like, I don't know, what was wrought, I think really comes through. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was very great. But, again, I hope there's a little bit of distance between now and when I rewatch it again.
Joe, our guest of honor, any final thoughts and a rating here?
I mean, I'm not really sure what more I can say about the movie. I think it is, you know, a high masterpiece of British cinema. It's not something I would probably recommend lightly, to be honest, for people who don't really know too much about British cinema. You know, watch something like Local Hero first. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't go straight into this. Like, if you're not really, if you've never seen Local Hero, by the way, watch that. That's a great movie. But I don't know, man. Do you know what I'll do? I'll read the Letterboxd synopsis, because that made me laugh more than anything else in the movie. Quote the Letterboxd synopsis: an unemployed Brit vents his rage on unsuspecting strangers as he embarks on a nocturnal London odyssey. Sure is. 5 bullets, please.
I feel bad about having used the word nocturnal in my early description of the film up top. Now I might have to strike that from the record, you know.
I mean, that's what I was thinking watching the movie the entire time. It's like, doesn't this guy have, like, a job to go to or something? You know, he's unemployed.
Well, his manager's going to be like, where are you, mate? Yeah, exactly.
We'll be right back on Extended Clip.
I went to Zimbabwe with my wanker boyfriend, my ex. What did I do wrong?
Did you see any big animals?
Yes, we saw elephants and rhinos and zebras and lions and vultures.
Did you see any monkeys?
We saw many monkeys.
What a chica.
Excuse me for living.
So you think you can make the present palatable by projecting into the future? You're living in the past, pal. It's the future that fucks you up, Brian. It's the maggot in the apple. See, you're all pissed off with the present, right? And there's nothing wrong with the present. The present's fine. The present's perfect. The present's peachy fucking creamy. The only thing wrong with the present is the bastard doesn't exist. Because the present is the future and the future is the past. And it's all the same fucking bag of bones anyway. It's a constant process of coming into being and passing away, coming into being and passing away. The future is now.
But the present does exist. We're in it now.
You were just then when you said it, but you're not in it now. You're not in it now. You're not in it now. You're forever being kicked up the ass by the future. You with me?
That's what I mean.
If you ever wore any movie merch, it should be tattooed on your face like the end of Inglourious Bastards.
This is my masterpiece. Is you doing the 4 dots? Like,
yeah, no, it's funny because this is very off the record. We're back on Extended Clip, and it's everybody's favorite segment. It's Malcolm in the Middle. Life is unfair. Malcolm, how is life treating you this fine week on the eve of Remembrance Day?
Oh, yeah. Well,
is that what they call it, or is it Patriots Day?
Oh, Patriots Day?
Is that what they call it?
What's that? Oh, is it September 11th?
Yeah, they made it a holiday.
Oh, it's September 11th here. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Man, September 11th comes earlier and earlier every year.
I think Patriots Day is the title
Patriot
of the
Day.
Boston bombing movie with Mark Wahlberg in it.
So that is Patriots. That is Patriots Day with an S, and 9/11 is called Patriot Day.
Oh, really?
I believe if you were to look at like the calendar on your phone, I'm gonna check. I think the calendar on your phone will say Patriot Day on 9/11.
Mine just says LOL. So
it doesn't say anything.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything on mine.
Never
mind. My phone calendar, the only thing it has in September is my tickets for a screening of the movie My Bodyguard on 16 millimeter, which I can't
Priorities.
wait. That's actually the day fucking One Battle After Another comes out, and I'm going to see My Bodyguard instead.
Damn.
But no, I have multiple pre-release screenings lined up for One Battle After Another. We're not fucking around with that one.
Big boys shit. Nice.
Not lined up all the way. They're in flux, but we'll see. That's why you get multiple, so you can maybe get into one of them.
Yeah, I think they're showing it in London in the VistaVision, but the cinema they're showing it in, I think the price will be about £30 to £35, which is disgusting. But I had to do $25 US dollar. I did buy a ticket for like 5 days after it comes out in VistaVision on like a Monday morning, and it was $25. You know, that sucks, but what are you gonna do? Yeah. Sorry, Malcolm, I've interrupted you 8 times in this recording. So.
I mean,
he really is in the middle. We're playing Malcolm in the Middle, as in Monkey in the Middle right now. Me and Joe are just tossing the conversation ball back and forth, and Malcolm's trying to catch it.
I'm trying to grab the mic. But my hands are too short. Me being the monkey and you guys being the humans. But you know, life is fair. I haven't got my One Battle After Another screening lined up yet. You know, I need my schedule to be figured out. But I definitely, as soon as I can, I will be buying those tickets. And you know, I guess I'll have to pony up the costs. You know, I might do payments and installments. You know what I mean? Maybe like 5 1 week. Like Klarna or something like that.
Klarna,
but
wait, what are you saying? Klarna?
Klarna? You're not familiar with Klarna?
What is that?
Big bucks Eddie over here, not fucking paying for things in installments.
Yeah, is it payday loans?
Yeah, it's like you could pay for things in like installments, but I guess it's
it's like an app for getting free credit card debt.
Basically, yeah. But it's like less involved.
Fun.
It's more. You know, it feels more safe. I have used it.
It's free money. What are you talking about?
Exactly. It's a problem for future me to pay that $5 next week, as I pay $25. Well, anyways, that's not. We're here to talk about what I saw, and that's what not what I'm going to see, and that's why life is fair, because I saw a movie by Marcel Leherbier about a couple weeks ago called, when I saw the title, it was in French and it was Le Inhumain, but it translates to The Inhuman Woman. And this is a silent movie from 1924. I saw this at like a UCLA presented screening maybe a couple weeks ago. And it was part of like this Art Deco series that they're doing, because that was, you know, kind of the style of architecture in these movies that they're showing. And it's definitely featured heavily in this, where the plot is basically there's this famous opera singer who is courting a husband, and in order to do that, she has this nice big house that's very stylistically decorated, and she invites about 12 eligible bachelors over for a dinner party. And that's kind of like the first 45 minutes of it. And of course, you know, 12 gets whittled down to 2, and we kind of have like this mad scientist guy. You know, he's a clean cut guy. He's not like you know, he doesn't got the Albert Einstein hair. You know, he's a little more. He's got the nice suit. He's dressed up a little bit better. But you know, he's got some crazy ideas. And in order to win her over, he kind of invents live streaming. I guess in the 1920s, invents a way to, you know, I guess, or television, live television broadcast. He basically invents a way to broadcast her singing all across the world. And so it's, I don't know, this movie kind of has like a sci-fi element to it, but it's so, I think, you know, what was great about some of these early silent movies is that they would just really go all out with the production design. And, you know, that's really what stands out here, whether it's kind of this dinner date setup of the 12 guys, and just like the very weird dimensions of her house. And, you know, she's got entertainment over, she's got a tiger and whatnot roaming around. And then the mad scientist, like the way this this streaming setup is displayed is so specific, and it doesn't really follow the I don't know, it's TV, but it's not TV. Basically, like just like through his factory of like science, like he's got a lab, but it's like it almost operates more like a factory, and they just kind of build a way to where, you know, people all across the world are listening to this opera singer sing, and it causes, you know, that's what causes her to fall in love. And
how is the music that they integrated into it as a silent movie?
Well, here's the thing. It was live. There was a live piano accompaniment, and I'd say it was definitely very good. But you know, I think we are missing out a little bit of the experience, because beforehand it was explained that there was an original score to this that was very percussive, and you know, with like especially with these laboratory scenes where we see a bunch of like machine whirring and rapid cuts. You know, you can imagine, you know, a score in your head that kind of matches the rapidness and the machinery going on. But also at the same time, I was impressed by the live score, and I was like, damn, that guy just played piano for like 2 hours straight. Like, that's fucking, that's got to be hard.
That is crazy. Also, it was at UCLA, so I'm guessing that means it was on a crazy good looking print.
Yeah, no, the print was great.
Yeah,
I think it was a DCP. Yeah, no, much respect to the archives, and you know, it's free screenings. I found a good place for parking, so I'm not even paying for parking. You know,
don't give it up though. You can't burn the spot.
Hold on, when you say it's free, like anyone can rock up and just goes.
Yeah. The UCLA recently got they'll once in a while drop into their pre-show intros, because it used to be free if you were a student or even just had a student ID. You would just roll up if it wasn't sold out in advance and flash your student ID, and they let you in for free. I did that like for a few years after I graduated. And then they got this like massive fucking endowment, like a $10 million donation or some bullshit to the archive in general, or maybe to the Hammer Museum and the archive. I don't know, but they got some giant fucking donation, which rules. I love when people do that to the arts, of course. And it was just like, yeah, so now the screenings are going to be free, guys. Like, it's the best film archive on at least the West Coast of the United States. And they show stuff probably 3 days a week, maybe sometimes only Friday, Saturday, sometimes only Saturday, Sunday. But
is it like a first come, first serve sort of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. You roll up and you get a ticket for free from the box office early, but like they're almost never close to capacity, the ones I've been to.
Right. Yeah, this one was pretty well attended. But one thing that they do too, if you have anxiety about heads, you know, you don't want to go to like a crowded screening. You know, you're knee to knee, like it's the goddamn airplane. They kind of make sure that there's like a seat in between. You know, if you bring you and your friend, you know, obviously you sit together, but like you're kind of
they try to place you well.
Yeah, they place you. It's almost like kind of like COVID rules.
I've never actually had this before where it's assigned seating, but they don't show you a seating map when you roll up. They kind of are just like a seating sommelier for you, where they're like, what kind of seat do you like at the movies? and I'm like, me being the fucking Terminator, I'm just like, okay, so I want I know this theater very well, so I want the third row from the back, aisle right side, so I can get my feet in the stairs and trip people. That is my every time seat for the Billy Wilder. It's also called the Billy Wilder Theater, and there's a wall that's just like a giant mural of Billy Wilder in close up. Like his mug is like 20 feet tall. It's awesome.
Damn. Why didn't they name it after a good filmmaker?
Oh
wow! Coming from a Brit, that's tough. Anyway,
Don't know why that. Well, that's got to do with anything. Sorry, I'm stuttering here after that stinging comeback from Eddie.
Yeah, that was rough. Yeah. Billy Wilder's a good filmmaker.
He's all right. He's got a couple good ones.
Yeah,
he's a good guy.
I haven't seen enough of the B-sides to say. Yeah, definitely a great guy.
Was he?
No.
I have no clue, to be
well,
honest.
maybe, but in our Star 80 episode, did I tell that story about the Bogdanovich thing?
Yeah.
Joe, do you know about this?
What's that?
So, do you know about like his bitterness toward Peter Bogdanovich? And are you a fan of Peter Bogdanovich?
I love Peter Bogdanovich, the filmmaker and the man. So,
you know how close he
I've got
was.
his Alan Dewan book over there, just looking at me. So,
oh, well, so you're aware of Bob Fosse's movie Star 80, right?
Love that film.
And how it affected Peter Bogdanovich personally.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One such anecdote is that he was at the dentist and he ran into Billy Wilder, and Billy Wilder just walks up to him without even saying hello and goes, "You hear that story about the Playboy girl who got killed? There were a few things wrong with the plot. Let me tell you how it should have gone." And he starts punching up the story of Dorothy Stratton's murder as if it was a screenplay.
Fucking hell. And I'm assuming he didn't know about. I mean, if he did know, that's incredible. Like, what a beast.
He knew it was Bogdanovich's girlfriend. That was
he did know?
Yeah, he was being a fucking asshole.
Oh my god.
He was
that is
being
unreal
a
banter
monster.
right there. Jesus Christ.
That's why the
hell.
award for bitterness at the Golden Gears is called the Golden Fedora for Billy Wilder's fedora. But I love him. But regardless, you know, UCLA, it's so funny how under-advertised they are. We should do like free promo for their screenings and hope they just give me like $20 or something like that. Because like
give you free tickets for life.
Well, they did the whole Luc Moulet retrospective a whole year ago, and nobody fucking went because they didn't advertise it. Malcolm, you went to
except
one
for
of them,
me,
right?
of course. Except for
yes,
me. But
Which one did you see?
The one that Eddie just saw, I can't remember titles.
Anatomy of a Relationship.
Anatomy of a Relationship, and then the one that's like two college girls, and they're just kind of they're having a fun time.
They're having a fun time. Yeah. Malcolm saw Daisies and thought it was a Luc Moulet
Have
movie.
you seen his cycling movie, Up and Down?
No.
Oh, it's so good. That, to me, if you watch that as like with filmmaker brain, that looks like the most miserable fucking film shoot this side of Apocalypse Now. Like, it looked absolutely because it's just people cycling up and down a mountain, and it's these different like sort of like little skits that happen. It's fantastic, very funny movie.
Anyway, JT, you watch anything good recently?
Yes, I did. I went to a screening here in Philly at Phil Mocha. They had A Night with Adam Green, where they were showing, I guess, one of two movies that Adam Green has made. Adam Green of the Moldy Peaches, which I'm not particularly familiar with. I was just at another Philomoka screening, and they had the trailer for his like iPhone shot movie from 2010 called The Wrong Ferrari that Green like wrote and directed while like heavily on like ketamine, and it's kind of like, I think the like title credit like refers to it as like a tragic kind of like screwball farce, and like it like kind of right, it's like a very weird surrealist comedy that like I've never done ketamine. I've never done any drug. I that's on record, of course. And so but you get the idea of the effects of it, and like it's this very surreal, like just like there's kind of a plot where like Adam Green is like is like almost like poached by Nintendo Records, and he goes to like a place that's like sort of done up like with like a Mario and Luigi. It's all like insane, like no budget stuff. Macaulay Culkin is in it because he just met, like, Adam Green was telling the story after the fact. He met Macaulay Culkin when he was like going to like a stroke show out in LA, and he gets in like this elevator with like Drew Barrymore, Macaulay Culkin, and someone else. And then these like two young girls get in the elevator and they like scream and recognize like Adam Green of the four of them. And then like Macaulay Culkin and him just thought it was funny. And then they wind up like hanging out, and he wanted to adapt like this book that Macaulay Culkin had written, and that sort of fizzled out. And yeah, he was just shooting things on like an iPhone 3, and Macaulay Culkin was like, well, can I be in that movie? And they kind of went from there. And I feel like it drags like a little bit towards the end because like the cumulative effect of something that like very much feels like the product of an extended like drug bender, like I think can kind of wear on you. But, like, it's incredibly funny. Like, there's one scene of, like, him in, like, a fake, like, in a McDonald's that they've, like, done up, like, a, like, just, like all, like, cardboard, like, set design, like, to be this, like, fake McDonald's with, like, a cashier also on ketamine. It's just something that I feel like is truly, like, almost impossible to explain because there's no, like, strong threads or, like much connective tissue, but I think it's freely available online and very fun. Like, I don't know, especially like doing iPhone shooting for the movie. Like, I like seeing the history of like kind of phone movies, and I feel like early on, like especially like, I mean, something like Tangerine, like Baker had like lenses and things like that made, and like there's like the existence of like iPhone gear and stuff at that point. But The Wrong Ferrari is just really like just someone like literally just like taking out their phone and like passing the camera around like among friends to like shoot like different parts. And I don't know, I love the feeling of that like inventiveness with the movie.
It's a veritable who's who of the 2000s and early 2010s indie rock scene in the
absolutely
cast here. You got fucking Devontae Hines, aka Blood Orange. You got of course the aforementioned Macaulay Culkin. Wasn't he in that stupid ass Pizza Underground band? Sky Ferreira is in this movie. Let's see, Aaliyah Shawkat, not a musician, but in this movie and fits in with that. Oh, Devendra Banhart. That's a name I hadn't heard that name since high school until like literally yesterday. I saw a dude wearing a Devendra Banhart t-shirt. And I was like, nice t-shirt, Mr. 2012. Where'd you get that?
Harmar Superstar as well is in this.
Harmar Superstar. Didn't Harmar Superstar get Harmar Me Tutor starred?
Yeah, he did actually.
It's rough.
Yeah, he did. He did. He did. Awful.
There was a better way to say that.
Sure.
It's more of, it's just a phonetic exercise.
Workshop it. Bring it back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Joe, we've all been going theatrical here. Do you have either a big or small screen experience that you'd like to share with us? Are we going to go 4 for 4 on the big screen?
I can go big screen with something contemporary, or I can go contemporary.
Or if you had something in mind, small screen, you could do it. I was just curious.
I don't know, man. There's a couple things I wanted to just mention. Do you know what? The last film I went to see, I went to the cinema about a week ago, and I went to see the new Ari Aster film, Eddington, that finally came out here in the UK. What are your guys' opinions of that film, if you've seen it?
I liked it. I didn't think it was amazing or anything, but I'm a fan.
Yeah, I liked it. I was surprised because I didn't see Beau is Afraid. because I'm like, I'm not doing this. Like, I've seen the first two.
I liked Beau is Afraid, which made me even more excited than I should have been for Eddington, probably.
Right.
I actually still think Beau might be the best movie he's made.
Really? Okay.
It's really good. It's really good. There's like 30 minutes that are questionable in their need to exist, but even with that, I think it's a really, really good movie.
Fair enough. So I saw Eddington, and yeah, I was quietly impressed, to be honest. I was like, yeah, okay, this guy's got some chops. He obviously did the horror movies because it's like, I need a way in, and that's probably the easiest way to do that, perhaps. So I was quietly impressed by that. I think the best bit is the joke at the end where you see the kid who survived, like the montage, and then like James Woods pops up, and I just started laughing, and my girlfriend, who is not online at all, was like, what the fuck is so funny about that? I'm like, never mind. So I appreciated that. I don't know what else I can really talk about. I watched this movie called Castration Movie Anthology 1, The Fear of Having No One to Hold at the End of the World. Do you know about this movie?
I do know about this movie. This has been the talk of the town, with the town being the internet, as of like. It's also been the talk of, when I was in New York, it was just wrapping up its theatrical run there, so it was kind of the talk of the town there 2 months ago, at least in underground cinephile scenes.
I did just quickly want to shout out a British filmmaker, or a Hollywood filmmaker, as you stated earlier, Mr. Tony Scott. I watched Enemy of the State. Have you ever seen this movie?
Oh, hell yeah. I love that one. That's
oh my
sick.
God. What a sick movie. They got him. They killed Tony Scott, I'm sure. After reading that PD 187 review where he goes through the details, they killed that man. He knew what was up. Yeah. He knew what was up. That movie is sick. And he's like, it's one of those things where he's so prescient with what's going to happen. And it's also interesting, makes this in contrast with Top Gun, where it's literally just an advert for the military. Come hang out with your boys and get oiled up, versus, the government are watching you and they will hunt you down no matter what, and they will get you. You can run as much as you want. You can be a free citizen and away from everything. They will get you. And this sort of like terrifying surveillance thing that comes through. I just thought, I was really kind of blown away by it. And I thought Will Smith was fantastic as well. And it was good to see Gene Hackman. And also, just very quickly on that movie, I can't remember who popped up in it, but I'm like, we're talking about actors, and then I was just like, oh yeah, it kind of reminds me a bit of like Michael Madsen. Someone was talking in a voice that sounded like Michael Madsen in that movie, and then I sort of like said like, oh, rest in peace to that one, to my girlfriend, and she was like, he's died? Like, she was surprised, like I'd broken the news to her that Michael Madsen had died, and this is like, month or so afterwards, and she was like, yeah. It's like, well, the guy from Casino Royale, like, he's dead. So I was just like, no. She's like, she thought Mads Mikkelsen had died. And then when I pointed out Michael Madsen, this guy, she's like, oh, I didn't like him, he was shit. So that was...
Jesus.
It makes sense that he'd be dead.
Yeah.
Enemy of the State is one of those movies that has like 500 guys in it. Like,
yes. That's something that came to me as well. You don't get movies with this level of cast in terms of just girth anymore. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, where it's just like that sort of broad. Sorry, I didn't know what word to use there.
No, you can.
No, it is a girthy movie. You're
right. And then you're like, God, there's so much girth, and then Hackman turns up. You're like, oh my God, can I take any more? Like, it's just, it's.
It is in the girthy aspect ratio of 2.35 to 1, and John Voight is quite wide. Barry Pepper's pretty wide. Dan Butler is pretty wide, aka Bulldog from Frasier. Jack Black is in this. This movie has so many fucking people. It has, I think, the highest level of uncredited actor ever. Like, 3 names back to back that appear in the movie, but are not actually. I'll even say 4 names that appear. They appear in the movie, but do not even get a credit because of how many guys there are in this movie. Seth Green, Tom Sizemore, Jason Robards, and Philip Baker Hall.
Yeah, Baker Hall's in it for like 30 seconds, and it's just
they're each in it for about 5 seconds, but like it's just too many guys, but in a good way. I went to the theater just last night. I mentioned earlier that UCLA had run a Luc Moulet retrospective that was sparsely attended. Well, guess what? It's back. Mezzanine, the programming outfit out here, is running a Luc Moulet retrospective at... Well, by the time you listen to this episode, it's probably done. I mean, maybe there's 1 or 2 screenings left. So they're doing some at 2220 Arts and Archives and some at Brain Dead, everybody's favorite venue. I went to the one at 2220 last night. It was Anatomy of a Relationship, as well as his short film Essai d'ouverture, or Attempts at Opening, which is like a 14-minute movie about trying to open a bottle of Coca-Cola, and it goes to these like absurdist heights, just continually heightening. That's kind of the structure of the short, is heightening further and further into the absurd, using tools and mechanisms, and getting dangerous, and seeing this man grow old as he tries to find new techniques to open Coke bottles over the course of his life / 14 minutes. And it was funny, the person who programmed this and introduced it, Micah, he was saying that Luc Moulet might even be a better short filmmaker than feature, and I would say that might have been the case for the presentation last night. I liked Anatomy of a Relationship quite a bit, in fact. I thought it was really good. I just thought that short film was like kind of a perfect microcosm of him, almost, like from the sampling I've had of Luc Moulet. Regardless, Anatomy of a Relationship, an extremely autobiographical film in which Luc Moulet's wife is upset because sex has become something of a one-way street within their intellectual heavyweight relationship. And it's a film that is very raw. It's a film that shows the life of a low-budget independent filmmaker in an uncompromising way, not unlike Matt Farley's Local Legends, but like post-New Wave era French version, you know? To me, this also kind of played like a very short version. It's only 79 minutes of like Eustache's The Mother and the Whore, but instead of like 2 women, it's like 1 woman and the cinema, because Luc Moulet is just a cinephile extraordinaire, and that takes up so much of his brain. It's a really well shot movie, really great black and white. That's of course also what reminds me of the Eustache movie that I referenced that had come out a couple years before this, and I feel like had to have been an influence. They ran in similar circles, I believe. But yeah, I thought that this was a very good and very funny movie. Not my favorite that I've seen from Moulet so far, but definitely a recommendation, a 3.5 bullet recommendation on Anatomy of a Relationship. And I'm hoping to roll out, work schedule permitting and one battle after another schedule permitting, to more of these Luc Moulet screenings.
You know, that movie's not as girthy as Enemy of the State, I would say. Because he shows his penis in that one.
Yes, he does show his bare penis quite a few times in this movie. As a spectator, very fun to see only a couple of walkouts that were particularly funny, because I noticed these people's faces walking in, and I don't know, when you go to like more hip LA film events, because like LA film events, they can either be more like hip and there's more like couples and dates and stuff, or it's like the Goon Squad, you know, like at Tarantino's theater, where it's really like the Goon Squad.
Oh,
it
is it?
smells
Okay.
disgusting, you know.
Like fellas only sort of.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what was a weird movie I went to see this year that was like weirdly couple heavy? Was The Shrouds. Like I went to see that at cinemas. It was almost like exclusively couples. I'm like, this is testing some of these relationships, I think. Like that's I love that movie, by the way. It's just one out there.
Yeah, I saw that with Malcolm. And
are there movies that you consider like dating movies from your own personal history, as in like movies you've shown, you know, a lady and then they've like something's happened from there or whatever, like not as like a test, but just like this could set like, a mood of sorts.
Movies that marked a certain thing. I mean, There was a beginning of the end with a screening of Magnolia once with a girlfriend like 6 years ago. That was pretty funny.
Terrible.
Because it was like
Great
she
movie,
hated
but-
it. Yeah, she hated it and had a headache the whole time, and it was like why didn't you just tell me you wanted to leave? You know, that kind of thing. It's like a 3-hour loud movie, and I'm like, we could have left. You know, I was having a good time, but we could have left. You know, that was a pretty rough fight that lasted until the break.
I remember an experience. Remember going to see like Welcome to Marwen with a girl, and I was just like so into it after the movie ended, and like she just did not know where I was coming from. You know, found it, you know, just was trying to hear me out, and didn't really have. I don't know. She wasn't into movies as much, so she didn't really feel. You know, she didn't really go beyond being like, I just didn't like that so much.
Taking a girl who's not into movies to Welcome to Marwen on a date is beautiful behavior.
I also did that for, what do you call it? Which, this one was more successful, but what was it? The House That Jack Built, that Lars von Trier movie? With Matt
I
Dillon?
believe that's a movie
I've
we
got
were
a
at
last
the
one.
same screening of. Were you at the NoHo 7 for that?
No, this was in Central California. I did not.
Ooh.
Yes.
All right,
I've got a
well-
last one.
Oh, sure.
Just I know you guys got to wrap up, but actually it was two things that just came up in my mind. Was Antichrist. I'm a little bit older than you guys, I think, so I am a little bit older than you guys, but I went to see Antichrist with my then girlfriend, and she was like, I don't understand why you've seen this 3 times at the cinema. And I'm just like, we're just never going to get each other. Like that's one of those things. And actually, it was more. I was thinking about films that I know that have been successful in terms of like making women attracted to me, and one of them was Possession. But this was before the tote bag, because again, being a little bit older than you guys, Possession wasn't a thing that you could get, so I had to get a DVD-R off the internet, ordered, and some crummy version, and it was successful a couple times, but the third time I did it, I watched it with my now girlfriend. We were a year into our relationship. We watched it, and she won't mind me saying this, I don't think. I don't know. But she was like really in the mood to have sex after we watched that movie. But the thing is that I didn't clock onto that, and it was the Champions League final, so I went off and watched that instead, and just sort of left her on boil in the bedroom. So yeah.
The old Possession move. All right, you know. That's
Well, I don't know if you could use it now. You'd maybe have to use a new Złowski, you know, like, do you know what's a good one? Is Zemanka, about the woman who gets like sexually obsessed with a mummified body. Like that's a good one. And that's also got a really fucking out of left field visual gag in a town square that is really good. Zemanka, I believe is how you say it.
Really quick on the Złowski, when you were comparing Naked to that, I don't have too much experience with him, but it did kind of remind me of The Devil. If you've ever seen that one, I feel like The Devil.
I've not seen that one. No, I've sort of been saying
because it's just about a crazy guy. Crazy guy cinema.
JT, any good date movie stories?
The one that springs to mind was in high school. I went. There's like this theater in the like small town that I grew up in had like a 1-room theater, and they mostly just played like, I don't know, like things from like the multiplex that was like it was like a second run theater. Like after it had gone out of the multiplex, it'd be in this like 1-room theater, and so like they had Spring Breakers, which was like a crazy surprise, and I really wanted to see that, and so I went with a girl on like something where I wasn't quite sure whether or not it was a date. And I just gently had touched her leg at some point during the movie, and it got a gasp from her. And then I was like, oh no, like this is horrible. And then like just in the car ride home, like I was so afraid of having done that. I was like, oh fuck, I fucked this entirely. Right. But like. We dated late. We started dating later afterwards, but apparently she said she was giving me signals like the whole car ride back, that she wanted to hang out longer and just be like, oh yeah, no, I don't really have anything to do. But I was just mortified that I got the gasp as a reaction.
Right. Were you brought up in a Catholic household, perchance, or is this?
No, but probably just as repressed.
Okay, cool.
I mean, a gasp would scare me.
This feels like it runs contrary to your hedonistic tales of grabbing a breast for the first time watching Cars 2.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, like, because it was the gasp was surprising. It was like I don't know. That's not positive or negative. It was like and I was like, oh man, I did something so wrong.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Speaking. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eddie, I'm really sorry, by the way, for dragging this out for as long as this has, because I know what a pain in the ass it is to edit podcasts.
Yeah.
But please, can you edit out my...
Of course. Don't worry about it. It's not like we're recording another episode right after this or anything. That is going to do it for this week's extended clip. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I'll probably also cut out the part about quote-unquote over the pants stuff.
Can I?
Because that disgusts me now.
Can
in
I plug
retrospect. Of course, I was going to throw it to you.
Oh, sorry.
Let me do the little wrap up here. That's going to do it for this episode of Extended Clip, everybody. Make sure you join us on the Patreon for an extra episode every week. It's $5 a month, people. Joe, thank you so much for joining us and lending some British credence to this American show. Is there anything you would like to promote while you're here?
Two things. So I'm planning on making a feature, life permitting, later this year. So get involved in Joe Greenwood's first feature film titled Horny Devil. Will be hitting cinemas next year, matey. So you're in for a treat with that one. Let me tell you, that script, that is, I'm going to say it, it's a nutty script that I've written, so I'm really excited by that. And kind of Naked inspired as well, hence why I sort of reached out. I've been thinking about Naked a lot recently. And I'm not one to like reach out to people to be like, can I come on anything, because that's just not my nature.
But it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, I guess so, actually. Actually, Eddie, I did invite you to come on 10TB, and then like 2 months later I ended it. So like,
yeah,
I will get you back one day for that when 10TB does make
I'm glad that you at least invited, because I can count on one hand how many podcasts have invited me on over the years. So whether or not they actually pan out, it's like whatever. It's the invite that counts.
Yeah. But Horny Devil the movie on Instagram, get on that. There's only one post up there at the moment, but we will start ramping it up. If you want to get involved, if you're in the London area, reach out. We're going to make some grimy piece of shit that's going to look hideous, and then we're going to inflict it upon the world next year, and it's going to be horrible. And then another thing I'm going to point out, if you're a mutual of mine in America and some Canadian cities, my dad and stepmom are touring in America in October for 3 weeks, and Canada. If you want to go to their shows, please reach out. My stepmom was in a band in the 90s that was somewhat popular called Lush, and she's touring. What?
Wait, your stepmom was in Lush?
Yeah, she was Mickey Bereni in Lush.
Damn.
Just like, my family is quite weird in terms of like how famous. There's people in my family who are more famous than her, which would make me a nepo baby to some. But let me tell you, my bank account does not back that up. Okay, so let's get that all right. But yeah, if you're a mutual of mine, and if we've exchanged like one DM, just reach out, see what their tour dates are, and I'll see if I can hook you up. Mr. Nick Newman has got the New York spot, so if you're in New York, I'm sorry to say, tough luck.
Wow, that is very cool.
That's sick,
who's your uncle, Marky Smith?
They're just like, no, my dad has 2 good Marky Smith stories though that he told me.
Oh, really?
That I'll just, I can just do them now. I don't know. One of them was he supported Marky Smith in the 90s, and it was the day he split up with his wife, and they got to the venue, and there was just screaming matches. They were told like, just go wait in your green room, don't come out to your sound check. Yeah, so my dad's had a couple beers. He goes to the toilet, has a piss. Door opens. Some hunched over man comes over, and it's Marky Smith, and he's pissing a couple urinals down, and the dad's like, "You all right?" And it's just like, Mark goes like, "Yeah, you're right," just like that in his way. I won't do a Marky Smith impression fully, and then he's just like, "Yeah." Marky Smith goes like, "I'm having a fucking shit day, mate." It's like, "Yeah, I feel you, mate." It's just like, "Yeah, women, can't live with them, and I can't fucking live with them." And then he left without washing his hands, apparently. So that's one of my dad's Marky Smith stories. I'll let him tell the rest in his autobiography at some stage. But yeah, they're touring. Here, reach out if you've ever DM'd, see where they're touring. And
yeah, we definitely got some lush heads out there for sure. Knowing our listener base.
Yeah. If you don't know them, buy the tickets too. Support.
Yeah.
No freebies.
That's one of the crazier plugs I feel like we've ever had on this show.
I'm really sorry.
No,
that was a bit.
Don't apologize. That's sick. That's so cool.
Yeah. No, I'm a fan.
My dad's got a real fear of flying, so just like it has to be justified by people being there, and he can put a couple people. I don't know. Just DM me.
Yeah. Goodbye, everybody.